A people that does not know its history is damned to repeat it. Nicolae Iorga, Romanian historian, killed by far-right extremists during World War II. Hello and welcome to Impera project, a project built on a dream. Our dear philosophy enthusiasts, strange are the times we are currently living in. More than 1 year ago we posted a video called FarRight in Europe, the calm before the storm, in which we expressed our concern regarding the increasing popularity of the far right. It seems that our video is still relevant today, probably more than when it was first released. Today's video is going to be a bit different from our usual content, as our country has recently been the target of multiple controversies these past 3 months. For some of you that have subscribed to this channel for a longer period of time, you probably know that we are Romanians. So in today's video we want to discuss the situation of Romania from a Romanian point of view, so to speak. But before we start this video, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe to Impera Project for more videos related to philosophy, politics and many more other topics. Your support is always welcomed and we appreciate every single new member that joins our community. Thank you very much, and now, without any further ado, let's begin. In November 2024, Romania had elections. Now, our elections go something like this. All the participants who are valid participate, their number doesn't matter. The first two that obtained the most votes duel in a second round. Everyone expected that the second round would be between the current Prime Minister, Marcel Ciolacu, member of PSD, in theory a center-left party, in practice a kleptocratic political party, and the radical right party leader George Simion. The reason this happened is because the radical right political party led by Simion, AUR, the Alliance for the Union of Romanians, has moderated their speech in the past years, changing from a far-right ultra-nationalist discussion full of scandals and xenophobia to a more center-right approach, at times even reasonable. Instead of this confrontation, we were met with a strange result. Someone that can be characterized only as a pseudo-intellectual that never stops embarrassing himself took the first place. We are talking about the independent, although far from it, candidate Călin Georgescu, whose statement almost caused us brain damage. His counter-candidate, Elena Lasconi, took second place. Yet another surprise. What happened next is probably what you expect: complete confusion and anarchy. His name was the most searched term on Google on the night of the elections to symbolize how many people never heard of him. Călin Georgescu was expected to obtain less than 1% of the votes. Instead, he got 22.94%, thus taking our institutions by surprise. We get it, everybody loves the myth of the underdog. But this kind of result, so far from the prediction, simply doesn't happen by mistake. So everyone got on high alert trying to comprehend what happened. It seems that Georgescu, who declared zero budget for his campaign, obviously impossible, had received help from a multiple of sources via TikTok. Income which was never declared, thus breaking the law. The money he obtained were coming from very shady sources, and suspicions of corruption have erupted over the AEP, the Electoral Permanent Authority, that they have fraternized with the far right. Suspicions of corruption and foreign interventions have been made public by our secret service, whose credibility has been questioned by the reasonable folk for many years. On the 6th of December the elections were annulled, thus sparking a presidential crisis and many conflicts over the state of Romanian democracy. Now, from our point of view, this decision was the right one, as suspicious activity of foreign entities in this area is well known. Also, the far-right candidate Georgescu actively broke the law by lying about his budget. The platform TikTok is also well known for lacking transparency in its algorithms, and the people that have supported Călin Georgescu are among others leaders of neo-fascist groups, owners of mercenary companies, corrupt businessmen and shameless priests of the Romanian Orthodox Church, which behaves more or less as a Russian vassal. In the documents made available for the public, we can see that Romania was the target of a hybrid attack via TikTok predominantly, but also on Telegram and Discord, where the said participants were organizing themselves. And we can see right here. The activation of the accounts was coordinated by a state actor which, under presumption, used an alternative communication channel for snowballing the messages on the platform. The sensible assumption was that the Russian Federation had interfered, but after the delirium, which was the declaration of the Trump administration and of Vice President J.D. Vance, a reasonable mind might start to believe someone else was behind this. After the presidential elections were annulled, the parliamentary ones took place and the three far-right political parties obtained a place in the parliament: Aur, SOS and POT. Political parties full of shady individuals and outright fanatics, Eurosceptics and Holocaust deniers. The usual suspects. This coalition of anti-EU parties tried to take down the president, which, contrary to the public opinion, continued his mandate instead of stepping down. Until recently, when the president left and the leader of the Senate, Ilie Bolojan, took office as an interimate. The biggest problem right now is that the current government has low credibility among the people, as the Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacu's approval rating has dropped after a massive scandal of corruption and conflict of interests. The Prime Minister has been seen, for all his mandate, as being an image of Romanian corruption and incompetence. This is a small summary of what happened so far. Now we have to discuss the reasons behind this shameful event. Just like Italy is divided between the rich progressive north and the poor conservative south, so is in Romania. Now, Romania is not divided by geographical demarcations, but by extreme differences in access to resources and education. So it happens that you can see in our capital, Bucharest, abject poverty and intolerable excess from one neighborhood to the other. So it is life here, one drowns, other dies of thirst. The biggest problem in Romania is lack of class consciousness, so the limited access to education and reliable sources of information led to a certain part of our society to succumb to populist propaganda and to believe with all their heart blatant lies. So far, this lack of access to resources has been a source of political capital for the traditional parties such as PSD, who always increases benefits and wages in the public sector right before elections, or starts infrastructure projects to prove that they are doing something in order to appease the masses. But this time, it backfired. People have massively voted against the current status quo in a desperate attempt to find hope. These people with limited access to resources and bad state of life, some forced to practice blue-collar work in the Occident, have been perfectly manipulated by the far-right candidate Georgescu. The problem is, these people are so desperate that they fail to see reason, and Georgescu managed to create a cult. Right now, these people will not listen to sound arguments in their pursuit for economic justice. Some say they have all the rights to behave so. We do not agree. One should listen to reason at all times, even in such fiery states. These people have been failed by the Romanian state and by the educational system, but that is by no means an excuse to set the whole country on fire, especially when their idols' arguments can be countered by a simple search on Google or by using common sense. Let's analyze some of the statements of Călin Georgescu, and please be prepared. God has arrived and said, "Well boys, when I made the human being, I made a mistake. I forgot this thing called immunity. I forgot, I wasn't paying attention, and so I asked you doctors to invent an injection or something to boost immunity. Something like this doesn't exist. That's the proof that all of these endeavors were politically imposed. The only science that exists in this world is Jesus Christ, the only one. In 2020, 1 out of 3 people will have cancer, contrary to the couple of hundreds in 1960. And I tell you, the sicker you are, the more money you give to the system. That's what they want, and people don't understand. It is an ordinary question. I take cancer. The mortality rate is 97%. Of those sick of cancer in the world by using treatments such as chemotherapy. What is chemotherapy? Why don't you ask yourself this simple question? It's an acid, and all that is acid is death. The blunders of Georgescu are many and have been the center of many discussions so far. We might even try to translate all of them in the future. And if you have the feeling that what you have read is nonsense, yes, in both languages it is nonsense. Everything he says is pure delirium. Georgescu had used the lack of education, the lack of resources, and the lack of trust of the people in the public institutions as columns to build his cult. People in Romania, especially the part that subscribe to his twisted ideology, has a problem with paranoia. Conspiracy theories are extremely popular here, and all the far-right populists have used this paranoia in order to boost their popularity. We previously stated that Romania lacks class consciousness, and it is really true, as not only the poor, uneducated people voted for Georgescu, but also people that are alright from a monetary point of view. We have talked to doctors, researchers, and engineers who voted for him out of spite. Some really believed his lies, as we met a doctor who does not believe in vaccines. How low the disciples of Hippocrates have fallen. Let's get everything sorted out. Călin Georgescu is a fascist demagogue, and these words are not used lightly. Umberto Eco's list of the 14 common features of fascism is a standard tool used in order to discover fascism, and Georgescu is fully characterized by all of them. So, if you don't get the point so far, a fascist got first place in a rigged election, something we have seen in the past. And that's not the worst part. The worst part is that a good chunk of the population of Romania is so distrustful of public institutions, and they are right to be so, that they don't believe it was rigged. There have been many protests saying that the elections were annulled because the Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacu didn't get in the second round, and while it takes sheer power of will not to believe so, we don't think that's the case. Something sinister happened, and after we presented you this profile of the candidate, we think you can start to understand why the reasonable folk might suspect the implication of the USA. But that's a video that we will make next time, just to sink in. Elon Musk, well known recently for making the fascist salute in public, yes, the Roman salute is the fascist salute, there is no difference between them, the same Elon Musk who supports the neo-Nazis in Germany supports Călin Georgescu in Romania. How interesting and a complete coincidence. But why fascism? Why would a country that lacks class consciousness would go to the far right? We have asked the same question more than 1 year ago, and now it's time to find out. Romania has a strange relationship with fascism. We have planned for some time to make a video series in which we explain Romanian fascism, and they are work in progress at the moment. The candidate Călin Georgescu actively promotes fascist leaders such as Corneliu Zelea Codreanu and Marshal Ion Antonescu as heroes, and there is indeed a shadow of pride among the intellectual folk of Romania. Both of them, together with Horia Sima, the next leader of the Iron Guard after the death of Codreanu, are responsible for the Holocaust in Romania. Holocaust which some people who lack intellectual prowess, to put it kindly, deny. Romania, during the military government of Ion Antonescu, killed between 280,000 and 380,000 Jews during the mass killings in Iași, Odessa and Transnistria, a number which is confirmed to a certain degree by the national archives of those times. Many average Romanians do not believe this number. Some don't believe we participated at all in the Holocaust and that all is a ruse invented to throw mud at our national heroes. The Iron Guard was a fascist paramilitary organization similar to the Ustasha in Yugoslavia. But why are they seen as heroes? Well, the answer is complicated. During the interwar period, Romania was divided between monarchists, fascists and communists. All three groups hated each other to death. Sure, there were also the Democrats, but to a certain degree they were monarchists. The intellectuals naturally flowed into the first two categories. Surprisingly, there were some intellectuals on the side of the communists as well. But due to ideological reasons, obviously they were not that many. So now you understand that during the first part of the 20th century, many writers and philosophers and cultural idols were on the side of the fascists. To name a few: Mircea Eliade, Radu Ghir, Emil Cioran, Octavian Goga, poet and fascist prime minister, and many more. These individuals were very important thinkers and their contribution to Romanian philosophy and literature cannot be underestimated, but their political views were controversial. So today, people tend to associate fascism with intellectuals. The communists were the barbaric Soviets and dirty factory workers and unwashed peasants, while the fascists were the orthodox elites and intellectuals. Obviously, it is a simplistic view and at times wrong. There is also the fact that the military events that have transpired during Antonescu's rule are seen today as heroic actions. The passing of the Prut River into the territory of the Soviet Union is a righteous crusade against Bolshevism, as it is called. It is not. The average folk does not understand that the reason why Romania joined the Axis was only to recover lost territories, and everything that happened after they were recovered was plain madness. People on the right side in Romania tend to have this militaristic approach to life. They are your average red-pilled morons, but more Christian. Also, Romania is a very religious country. Now, don't believe the statistics, they are highly exaggerated. There are many atheists in Romania, some simply don't declare themselves as that to avoid unwanted attention. But for example, our group of friends is composed of 7 people, from which 5 are declared atheists and 2 are highly doubting the existence of God. So our country is evolving. There is the lingering idea that the Romanian Orthodox Church deserves some sort of respect. The communists in Romania were pretty harsh on the Romanian Orthodox Church, demolishing monasteries and trying to build an atheist state. Given the fact that Romania was an agrarian country before the forced industrialization, obviously many people were highly religious. So the dream of an atheist state was not sustainable. That engraved in the mental collective that the so despised communists were atheists, while the intellectual fascists were highly orthodox and God-fearing. As here in Romania communists are hated more than the plague, this association that fascism is good because it is protecting religious values is highly popular. There are so many things to talk about related to our country, and there are going to be some more videos about that. We know that it is not our usual content, but we feel the need to take action in solidarity to all the people who are still sane and try to mount resistance against this repulsive trend of conservative madness. The next video is probably going to be about the shameful declarations of J.D. Vance, as they are highly misguided and sometimes outright insulting. We respect America and everyone in America, but we don't think that the US has the moral high ground to teach us about democratic values under the current administration. We thank you for your time and we hope you found this video interesting, and if so, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe to Impera project, and until next time we wish you all the good that is still left in the world.